Well, hello again, KCIW listeners, and welcome to Curry Café. I'm volunteer and producer Rick McNamer. Every Sunday from 3 to 4, your host, Ray Gary, puts together a panel of guests to discuss various topics of interest. Listeners can participate by texting questions or comments to 541-661-4098. 541-661-4098. Now, before we get right into the show, a couple of things. First, I'd like to wish everybody tomorrow Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. And also, we're going to play a little clip from Katrina from the Northwest American Indian Coalition before we get going. So let me pull that up.
Jala, Delaho, Shuushi Katrina Thompson from Northwest American Indian Coalition, and I'm bringing you week 2 of our October Community History Spotlight. This week, on October 11th, we have National Coming Out Day. This day we honor and celebrate our Two-Spirit and LGBTQIA+ relatives. For generations, Indigenous communities have recognized and respected gender-diverse identities. These roles are not new by any means. They're sacred and rooted in tradition. Today we continue to create space for love and identity and belonging, and we stand in solidarity with those on their journey of living authentically. Also this week, on October 13th, we have Indigenous Peoples Day. This is observed on the second Monday in October, and this is a day to celebrate the strength, beauty, and brilliance of Indigenous nations. It's a time to honor living cultures, thriving communities, and the many ways Native people continue to lead and teach and heal. So join us in uplifting the truth and celebrating culture and reclaiming the story together. We carry the past with us, not as a burden, but as a guide. This week, we invite you to light a candle, say a name, share a story. These are all ways that we heal.
Thank you, Katrina, for that important and necessary message. Okay, here's Mr. Ray Gary.
Well, hello, everybody. We're back again, and as usual, we have a couple of really interesting guests today, and I'll turn the mics over to them in just a minute. But I do have an announcement that probably all of you are already aware of, that Annie Hall died this week. I call her Annie Hall because that's favorite role that she played with Diane Keaton. She was in a lot of Woody Allen movies, and my favorite, though, was Annie Hall. It was just perfect. She won an Academy Award for it.
It's a great movie.
Okay, so now I will turn the mic over to our guests, and we could go around the table clockwise.
Okay, I'm Jenny Schultz-Mitchell, and I'm here with my husband, Roger.
Now, wait a minute. You ain't getting away that easy. Part of your introduction should be saying something about yourself.
Well, we moved here to Brookings in fall of 2009, October. I'd been, after living in Spain for several years in the 70s, I came back and got into adult education and was an adult school principal, and met Roger when we were both working at Alhambra School District in the 90s. And
is that Southern Cal?
That's Southern California.
Okay.
We lived about 5 miles from Pasadena.
Okay.
And 10 miles from downtown. And we got married in 97, retired in early 2009, and then moved up here in October.
Wow. Cool. Happy that anniversary, because it's October now.
Yes, it is.
I can't do the math in my head, but it's a long time.
Yeah.
And what a place to come to.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, when I was in education, I was involved in a lot of state things, and I would take trips up and down the coast, particularly Highway 1, as often as I could, as far as I could. And when I saw an internet list saying best places to retire, and one of them was Brookings, Oregon, on the Oregon coast. I just said yes.
That's beautiful. And how magnificent is Highway 1? Almost the whole-
Spectacular. Yeah. When I lived in Spain, I fell in love with the Costa Brava, and the Oregon coast looks so much like the Costa Brava. It is unbelievable.
I think it's one of the prettiest places in the world.
Yes, it is.
One of the prettiest drives in the world.
Yeah.
It's becoming increasingly expensive to keep it open, though. It was built in silly places where roads weren't meant to be built.
Well, they keep trying.
Keep trying. Yeah.
And the roads keep tumbling down.
Yeah, they do. Mother Nature keeps taking them back.
Yeah, when you're riding along and you see a cliff right at the edge there, you kind of speed up. Let's get through this area pretty quickly. Okay,
Great.
Now we have another guest, too, who we will allow to introduce himself. And he has a lot to tell about himself. I know. We know that from talking to him a little while outside.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Roger Mitchell. Excuse me. I was born in 1946 in West London. That's why I speak with a funny accent.
Lovely accent, by the way.
And we used to take the train to go on vacation down to the west of England. And when we got back home, I'd ask my father to show me the steam locomotive that had pulled us. On one occasion, the engine driver or engineer said, pass him up into the cab, and he wrapped some cotton rags around my hand and said, hold on to that chain, which was a loop of chain up in the roof of the locomotive. And then I held on to that, and he gradually lowered me until my weight overcame the valve, and I set the whistle off on the train, which surprised me somewhat. When
I imagine by now there's a bunch of OSHA or somebody regulations that don't allow little boys up there.
Maybe, but there's also a bunch of people, including me, who love trains. I worked on the railroad, who think, oh, man, that would be a memory forever. And obviously it is.
I think the statute of limitations has probably run out.
Oh, yeah.
This would have been about it.
They're not going to come get you.
Probably 50 or 51. And when I left school, I got a job as a chemist at Guinness Brewery. They had a brewery in West London at the time. On reflection, I probably shouldn't have left that job. But I did, and had my own business in limousine rental for some years, after which I became a tour bus driver and guide covering the British Isles and some of Europe. And it was on one of my trips there that I met my second wife and emigrated to the US in 1984, and gradually got into computers, which interested me very much. Of course, the desktop computer was in its infancy at that time. A lot of people had to learn how to use a computer and keyboarding and techniques. And I spent the happiest 15 years of my life as an adult education school teacher, teaching computers everything from networks, programming, the Microsoft Office programs. And that went on until I worked for the Los Angeles County Office of Education. And I came out of there in the recession that we had around 2009. And then I decided that I didn't want to work anymore. I was 63. So we packed up, or my wife, to be more accurate, packed all our stuff up in San Gabriel, Southern California. And we moved to Brookings, and we bought a lovely house up overlooking the bay. And now I wake up every morning to look at hopefully the sun rising on the bay. Doesn't work every day.
It's going to work a lot less pretty soon
That's
when
right.
the rainy season comes in.
Yeah. and I don't like rain very much either. So I made a rule in about 2010 that I was going to work and do volunteer work, but I would never accept money again for working. And that has worked very well. And myself and my wife have been volunteering now at the Chetco Activity Centre. And I'm going to read off their website. It's Chetco AC, so it's CHETCOAC.org. And that will tell you more about the centre than I've probably got time to talk about here, but it tells you, and I will go into this a little more hopefully later, on why the place was built and how people put their money into this, and also the services which we provide, of which our jewel in the crown is the Meals on Wheels service. And perhaps Jenny would like to say something about how we do the Meals on Wheels every week.
Well, Meals on Wheels, basically we have a list of people who are homebound, can't get out. We have 3 different routes, and each route has a driver and what I call a schlepper.
Call a what?
That
A
word,
schlepper.
That word
Schlepper.
works. That works.
And we deliver food to people who couldn't otherwise get out there and get it and get to know the people that we meet. We do Thursdays. There are two other sets of people that do Thursdays, and we have 3 routes and 5 days a week. So there's that many meals going out every week. About 63, more or less, people.
And you guys also, you said something about not only the 5 days a week, but you also provide frozen meals for the weekends for these people.
Right. We work on Thursday, and so on Thursday, in addition to the hot meal of the day and their salad and dessert, they get a package with 2 frozen meals for Saturday and Sunday. And then on Friday, they get their package with salads and desserts for the weekend.
They're kept well fed throughout the week thanks to the Chetco Activity Center, sounds like to me.
Yes,
They're good,
it's great
nutritious
service.
meals. And
Tasty.
tasty, and sometimes, probably most of the time, we are the only people that the recipients of Meals on Wheels see in the course of a day. And so they like to talk to Jenny. I'm somewhat disabled, so she meets the clients more than I do. Also, there's a safety thing involved here in that one of our people went to a lady who was living in a trailer and didn't get any reply to her knock on the trailer door, and they looked inside and saw that she was obviously in distress and laying on the floor, and so they called 911, and we heard afterwards the lady was perfectly fit, but if she had been left another 20 or 30 minutes, she would not have survived. And so the visit, a visit per day is extremely valuable to these people. There are people in Brookings who live in poverty. They live in old trailers with a tarp on the roof to because the roof leaks. And we actually had one lady who ceased to order her frozen meals for the weekend. And Jenny asked her why, and she said, well, my microwave is broken and I can't afford a new one. Well, we put the word around, and one of our friends donated a microwave which was gathering dust in their garage, and the lady went back to having her frozen meals because she had a way of heating her meals up on a Saturday and Sunday. We deliver about 63 meals per day between the 3 routes. And we also have the congregate lunches at the centre in the dining room. I want to say here that we will be delivering to the Meals on Wheels clients on Thanksgiving Day a turkey meal, and these people they pay what they can for the meal. I was counting the money the other day from the lunches, and there was a $20 bill labelled Meals on Wheels. Now, that obviously is nowhere near the cost of producing a meal, even if you use mainly volunteer labour. We have 3 paid people in our kitchen, and we get a federal money grant which comes to about $6,000 per month. That just about covers our payroll. It doesn't cover the cost of the food. And so we ask people to pay what they can. We are not allowed by the rules to make an actual charge for our meals. And that is one of the reasons we have fundraisers. After we've delivered the meals on Thanksgiving Day, we will be going back and having lunch, turkey lunch fundraiser, which incidentally anybody can buy tickets for. They will be on sale around the end of this month for Thanksgiving Day. And I don't know what they're going to cost yet. That hasn't been decided. But it's a very good meal, and if anyone wants to come, keep a look on our website, chetcoac.org, and the information should be there. If not, call the centre on 541-469-6822. That's 541-469-6822. And we will be glad to tell you of all the things we do at the centre. Alternatively, if you have a computer, look on the website at the menu for the month's meals, and also the events calendar, because we do things like playing card games and Tai Chi. There's a bridge club that meets at the centre. There's a book club, an exercise class, and the schedule for all of these is available and updated every month on the website. Back to the funding. The balance of the funding comes out of our investment, which was left to us by the founders of the centre, led by Virginia Manley, who left a lot of money, and Theora and George Humphreys. In the mid-70s, they decided we needed an activity centre for the elderly people, and they bought the land, so we own the land. So that helps because we don't pay rent at all, of course. And they then left around $1 million at that time, which was intended to be invested and for the centre to be funded in perpetuity. Unfortunately, the inflation has gotten the better of us, and we are now having to withdraw $6,000 per month in order to keep the place going. This is in addition to grants that we get for instance, some dangerous trees had to be cut down, and we have a person that works on grants, and they she got a grant to pay for this. A couple of weeks ago, the elevator ceased to work, and we were told by the people who maintain it that it would require replacing at a cost of somewhere around $200,000. And we are looking for a sponsor to make donations towards that. That's out of the scope of the donation that Jenny and I are proposing to make for the centre.
By the way, that elevator has the distinction of being the first elevator installed in Curry County.
Really?
Historical.
Absolutely.
Really.
It's probably not I can think of one in Brookings,
well,
but there's probably others.
Yeah. Well, maybe, but that's a pretty big deal. Now, you're talking, Roger. Yeah, that place was built, you say, in the 70s?
Yes.
70s. So upkeep alone on a building like that.
We need a new roof.
Oh, my gosh.
God.
And real quick, the address and the location of the Chetco
The
activity.
address is 550 Chetco Lane, just off Chetco Avenue, and we sit directly behind the Subway sandwich shop.
Oh.
And that's where it all happens.
We can get there.
We would love to see you and show you around and show you the facilities which we've got. One of the things that we offer every year, and I've been doing this, and Jenny has been involved in the tax preparation during tax season, and we do 800 to 1,000 tax returns every year with our group, and it's a volunteer free service. Some people will donate to the centre, which of course we encourage, but it's in conjunction with the AARP, American Association for Retired People, and every tax return, and of course I do my own, every tax return is checked by somebody of equal qualifications. We pass a test every year, and our error rate is very, very low. I have not known a tax return to be sent back to us from either the IRS or the state through errors that we have made.
It's
Sometimes.
a cooperative venture between AARP and IRS.
I've taken advantage of that a few years, and I've always wondered what effect that you do them. I think you did mine one year. Do you do?
I do.
Yeah. You're kind of distinctive looking, so you,
They call me Santa.
yeah, I can see why. Yes. Yeah, for those on the radio, we just described him right there. But I always wondered, well, what are the qualifications of these people? Are they all accountants, or did they
No.
take the half-hour course from someplace? Or
When I first moved to Brookings, I was working for the
Transit.
the Curry Transit, and our boss there, who unfortunately has passed on, Joanne Wasbauer, and she asked me if I would like to do taxes the following year, starting with tax year 2010. And we had just had a bill from our tax preparer in Southern California for $1,100 because he had to split the taxes between California and Oregon. That is a very simple job, I will assure you. I've done dozens of them. And so he charged us $1,100 plus $75 for electronic filing, which is about as easy as pressing a button. So I looked on that as being an opportunity to learn taxes. I knew pretty much nothing about taxes in the year 2010. And after the training, which is now an online training, and I would like to make clear to you here that we are always looking for volunteers. We sell out our tax appointments usually in 3 weeks, for the whole of tax season.
And when does that start?
Well, I always remember the day we start taking appointments.
You what?
Because the day we start taking appointments for taxes is my birthday,
Oh,
January the 15th.
okay. Because last year I waited too long and had to pay to get my taxes done.
Get in early if
So-
you want to get your taxes done.
To me, that whole tax thing is just a mystery where you take one number and you add it to this number and then divide it by 15 and your birthday or something like that.
And spin around 3 times.
Yeah. So the other day, I heard our president say, well, we no longer have taxes on Social Security. I said, well, that's nice. That's in most circumstances or something like that. So I tried to look up to see whether or not I fit in the circumstance. And after a few minutes of looking at that, I thought, what the hell with it? I'll just pay the taxes if that's what it is, because I don't understand what the criteria was. But I think the one line that I read in that website was things haven't changed since 1984 or something. Maybe that was, yes.
Well, and I'm sure you guys encountered us. And before I forget, anybody out there with questions or comments, please text in here at 541-661-4098. Me personally, taxes, and mine is sort of simple, but I never do it. It's intimidating to me.
It is to a lot of people.
Oh, I'm sure. And I was going to say, you probably not only get, I don't know this, seniors, and I think most seniors are intimidated by them. I know I am, I said. But people of all ages come in for help with taxes?
All ages, from young waitresses to a lady of 90, I think, over 90. And she brings her taxes in every year.
She's 95.
She's 95, actually.
Wow.
And
Good for her, man.
the people who started doing the taxes, and I can't remember what year that was, they were still doing it. It was before the IRS and the states got together and wrote the software to put on the computer to do the taxes. They actually did people's taxes with a pencil and paper, and that would have scared me off. I would have run as far as Gold Beach to get away from that, because the computer is a great help. Another thing which is a great help, and we ask people to do this, is bring in your last year's tax return, and we go through that, assuming they didn't come to us the previous year. If they came to us the previous year, then the software tells us what forms they used the previous year. And I had one lady come in, and I said, where is your so-and-so document for an income from some investment or other? And she said, oh, I think I stopped that one. And I just sure didn't believe her for some reason. And so I sent her home, asked her to come back the following day, and I showed her the previous year's document and said, that is what you're looking for. And she came back the following day, and I popped that into the program, and that was something that was an error which we avoided simply because the computer told me the document should be there, and so I wouldn't give up.
Wow.
Wanted to have that document. As I say, the taxes are not, the test is fairly demanding, but because the tough thing is deciding what classification, single, married with children, head of household, and figuring that one out can take a little while. We limit our service to people's taxes. We do self-employed, but not if they employ anybody. So we try to keep the taxes down to a manageable length of time so that we can serve the maximum number of people, because a lot of people need to come in and they've just got a 1099-R and a Social Security statement, and we can do those in 10 minutes.
Wow.
It's that simple.
So if I had a business, a little grocery store, let's say, you would do those taxes as well?
If you had no employees.
We do not touch stock taking. So if you had a store, you would have to, at the end of the year, do a stock taking.
Oh, okay.
And that has to go into the taxes. And that is out of scope for us and by IARP orders because it's time consuming.
Yeah.
And we consider that with the older population around here, and as I've already stated with Meals on Wheels and so on, they don't have much money. And so they're too intimidated, and they could in fact do it. And there are services, either free or very cheap, through the IRS or through the State Department of Revenue, or through companies such as TurboTax, which they could do it. I could teach them how to do it in an hour or two, but they're scared of doing it, so they come in and we talk to them and we ask them a whole load of questions so that we can establish what taxes they're likely to be required to pay. And as I say, we ask a list of questions which we've got printed down so you don't forget anything to ask them.
So if I go to a tax preparer and pay that person whatever they charge for it, I can also get advice from them about how you could do this or do that and reduce your taxes. Would your people do that as well?
Absolutely. And we advise them if they've got an income where they are required to pay, which many people have to do, including myself, quarterly tax payments to federal and state,
Right.
because of our pensions come from California and they don't deduct Oregon income tax. And so we go through that, and we will advise people that, well, you should be paying a little more in every quarter, because if you end up at the end of the year owing the state more than $500 or the IRS more than $1,000, you can get a penalty and be charged interest. They don't do it for relatively small amounts of overages, but if you had thousands of dollars over, then they could fine you for that.
I could never keep it straight when it was due, so this year I just paid the whole thing ahead of time. I know that's financially that's a stupid thing to do, but it was easy.
Yeah, that reminds me of a thing that often happens. One goes through and does these people taxes, and they tell them you're going to get a rebate or a refund of $2,000. And they smile and they laugh, and I say, you like lending your money to the government interest-free?
I when I was working, I had friends who say that, I use the same guy every year because every year he gets me $5,000 to $7,000 or something like that. I said, he's not doing you any favors. And I could never convince people that that's just what they were doing. They were giving the government a tax-free loan. I said, just give me the money every month, and at the end of the year, I'll give it back to you without any interest or anything. But for some reason, the people I worked with are not very financially.
Well, again, Roger, you talked intimidation. That the taxes intimidate me, the computers intimidate me. I'm 73. I want to go back also. So, of all of these people that come in, and I might have missed it, you don't charge them? Do you ask for a donation?
No. The way it works is that in the actual tax room, where my wife Jenny is a receptionist, and she shows the people in and allocates them to a tax preparer.
Okay.
And we are not allowed to ask for or accept any money in that room. But we have somebody in the office right outside that room
Okay.
And we are allowed to canvass there with flyers and so on
Okay.
to encourage donations. And
Okay.
we usually make about $9,000 a year, which goes to the centre. The centre provides the electricity, the space, and the internet connection.
And the people that do the work.
And the people who do work are volunteers. From top to
Volunteers.
bottom.
So roughly, what would that work out? Have you ever done it like per person? What you think the average donation might be, or is that something you just haven't done?
I've never thought of
Okay.
doing it, but probably the average donation. Some people cannot afford to pay.
I understand. That's my point. My point.
I think probably the average donation would be $20 to $30.
Okay, and back to that. My point is, I have mine done because I'm intimidated. Blah 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 with a tax person, and mine's cut and dried, very simple. It's $250 for me.
I paid
Every year.
200.
But I gladly pay it because I don't want to make a mistake. And again, a lot of us out there don't get that stuff. I feel comfortable and relaxed once and back to what Ray, and you guys were talking about, she finally said, because I was getting $1,500 back. Oh, this is kind of neat. Again, stupid in a way. But she finally said, well, what you need to do is just don't pay, let me think, don't pay as much. And anyway, I come out basically breaking even. And so, but $250 rather than the $20 roughly that you guys get. That's a heck of a deal, is my point.
And we feel that we're helping people. And also, if you have relatively complex taxes,
That's another factor.
after the training, I think probably the most difficult taxes I do are ours. But I have access to a training site on the computer where I can run various scenarios
Yeah.
through that.
And after he does the taxes, he has a quality review person to check them over.
Wow. And there again, I wasn't even thinking about factoring that in. You're right. A lot of people don't come in with so-called simple ones like I have, and some of them probably are. But there are a few that have pretty difficult paperwork to deal with on there, and that's. I guess my point there is those people might get charged $1,000 or more to have their taxes done.
Yeah.
Oh, when I had a business, we
Maybe
would have
that's
loved
cheap,
to
I
have get $1,000 only. We had pretty complicated stuff. And
Yeah.
a guy who did everything and did do all this stuff like, you can do this and you'll save that and this and that. But, yeah, it was expensive.
Well, I mean, here we are talking the Meals on Wheels and the taxes alone helping our community out is huge. Absolutely huge. And I also want to backtrack a little bit on when you both moved here, was there a certain event or something that got you thinking, hey, we need to be involved in this Chetco Activity Center?
Yes, it was after I had been driving for Curry Transit that I was asked to do taxis.
Oh,
And then I was not a volunteer for the centre. In fact, I probably wasn't even a member at that time. But when you start to volunteer in this part of the country, probably most parts of the country, it tends to grow like a snowball. And I then started off as receptionist in the downstairs office. I was asked to be a board member. I am now, Jenny is a board member and I am president at this time. And what I'd like to do is mention a few things that the centre has to offer. We have 2 meeting rooms, which can be, with a concertina barrier between the two, can be made into one larger one. That's where the taxes are done. Upstairs in our dining room, which is not used at the weekend, and we can close it. It isn't used in the evenings very much. And there, I think we can seat 90 people in there. And so we can do things like wedding receptions or events, dinners. and our kitchen will do the catering, or the people can bring their own caterers in. And again, the number is the Chetco activity telephone number. And my friend Carol Owens is much more up on the costs and facilities than I am. But this is a beautiful room. You can actually see the ocean over the top of the city of Brookings. And it's an underused resource, which is not expensive to rent out. I think it's around $300 a day.
Okay.
You'd be surprised, I think, to know how many people I've mentioned community center to, and a lot of people have never heard of it or knew it was there. Could I ask one more question about taxes before we leave that completely? Sure. You mentioned TurboTax before. Now, I don't understand why maybe that's what TurboTax is. I keep a track of my tax situation by sometimes if I give a donation and I can't print anything on my computer, so I just have a little piece of paper and I wrote such and such, $500, and that goes in a file. Very simple. Everything just goes in a file, and then it comes tax time, I dump the file out on my desk. But I've always wondered, why isn't there a program, or maybe there is, where you can just, instead of dumping it in the file, I type it into TurboTax or something like that?
You can.
And then at the end of the year, can you just push a button and it spews out your taxes?
I think you would probably type it all in at the end of the year. But if you're a member of TurboTax, I believe that would be possible to do. But for donations, cash donations are pretty simple in that you can add them all together and you can click a button which just says total, and you just type the total in. Now, if you were to get investigated by or audited by IRS, then they would expect to see the receipts.
Right.
But
I understand that.
I certainly have
keep my fingers crossed every year.
Very few people have audited.
No, I really don't cheat on it.
That's a good method.
Yeah.
Just do your taxes and cross your fingers.
Yeah. When I had an accountant doing them, my wife and I would walk out. You think that's really deductible?
Well,
and we've crossed our fingers for years because he told us to deduct things that I think was questionable.
Well, again, these services are just a big part of a big deal in the community. Have you had the room rented out at all lately, or have you had events that they've used the activity center for?
Yes, we have a church group that meets in one of our meeting rooms every Sunday.
Okay.
And we get the occasional. Last year, the Curry County Cruisers, the old car club, that applies to the drivers as well as the cars, and they had their dinner for a couple of years.
Okay.
And that was catered by the centre, and volunteers provided the labour of serving the dinner. And that each time we did that dinner, that made us a contribution to the activity centre's income of approaching $1,000, because the volunteers, if they get tips, most of those just turn the tips into the donation box.
That's nice.
And so what I want to say here is, how can we get help from the residents of Brookings and its environment? And Chetty and I feel very strongly this is our charity that we have chosen, and that is why we have asked people for donations, and that we are between now and December the 17th. That's simply the board meeting before Christmas, and as we were just talking about taxes, I want to get our contribution to this fundraiser into my taxes for 2025. And we are matching any donation from any person, be it business, private individual, be it $5, be it $500. We've had one donation for 5,000 already.
Oh, my.
It wasn't going to be that high, but the lady saw me in there and I knew her. And she upped her donation when she asked me, if I put $5,000 in, you will put $5,000 in. I said, correct.
Did you regret that afterwards?
No.
No,
because,
I just...
because we have put a limit on this to a figure which we can afford, and that figure is $50,000. So
I bet you I know who that woman is. I won't say it, but I do.
No,
she might not want... Yeah.
I'm not mentioning names.
No. Right.
Yeah.
But that's pretty amazing.
Can I get back? I should have asked this. Well, we were talking about it, but I couldn't get a word in. With the Meals on Wheels, do you imagine can accommodate certain diets that people have?
Not so much. We are careful not to deliver milk to people who are
Lactose intolerant.
Oh, yeah.
Vegetarian? Can you do a vegetarian?
No.
Okay.
No, that we again, because of cost
I understand.
and the fact we lose about $6 on every meal that we produce.
Oh, wow.
That's where the $6,000 a month.
So
comes out.
Everybody gets the same meal?
Everybody gets the same meal, and the same meal is served in the dining room at the centre, and people are asked to donate. As I said, we're not allowed to ask for money, but if you're on the reception desk, the contribution box is behind you, where you can't see it, and so those people can put $1 in for their...
I thought you meant so that people can't see it when they're leaving. I thought that would be like right up in front, and you'd have to jump through a thing
because we have to keep records for the funding of the meals of the names of everybody who eats there, and we've got an Excel program that takes care of that for us, and the people that man that desk 5 days a week simply put a number 1 in the square by the person's name for that particular date. And that then counts towards getting our grant every month.
I see. Okay.
As I'm going to say at our next board meeting, which is a public meeting, it's next Thursday starting at about 12:45, I'm going to say to our board members, get the flyers out, get people knowing what we do, let people donating to us, because you don't want Jenny and I taking any of that $50,000 home with us. You want to get it, and that will make a donation of $100,000 if we're successful in getting
the match grant.
The matched.
Well, you're getting the KCIW bump right now, so they'll be pouring.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Hey, one more time with this phone number here. You can text us if you have a question, or I don't know, maybe if you want to give a donation. We're at 541-661-4098. 541-661-4098. I want to say you mentioned that you might volunteer to sweep up a room or something, and before long you're a board member and you get sucked in. We have a similar situation here. We call it the Python effect. You can come into for instance, when I volunteered originally. I don't know, 9 years ago, I don't know anything about radios. I'll volunteer to be the handyman and sweep up. And before too long, I was president of the board. And now I've been doing this kind of stuff forever. So it's the Python effect. The Python will grab you by the toe and just slowly suck you in. And
like Motel California, you can check in, but you don't check out.
That's a great reference. But and both Jenny and Rod, you were talking about the volunteer work. I've been here a couple years, and it's a great feeling, man. This is, I mean, number one, I've always wanted to do radio. Didn't until I started coming here. I never had an opportunity, and now here I am. But and you're meeting all the great people and helping everybody out. I think it's a wonderful thing, man.
I'm going to volunteer if I can find a person to help me on Thanksgiving to do the Meals on Wheels thing.
And there we go. Back to the food that do you get any donations at all from any of the local markets or local
yes,
farmers? I don't know.
We do, and not too much,
Restaurants, maybe.
But everything helps.
Oh, sure.
And our kitchen manager goes out and goes to the local major stores, and if chickens are on offer, she'll buy 20 chickens and put them in our...
Okay.
We've got a big walk-in freezer. And incidentally, our electric bill is $1,000 a month. So this money all has to come from somewhere.
Electricity is pretty cheap here, so you must be burning up a lot of electricity.
Well, we actually were put on a higher rate. The electric company put us on a higher rate.
Oh, because your business.
My general manager told me. And...
well, that seems kind of counter.
Because we used too much electricity.
Even though you're a charitable group.
Yeah,
we're a registered charity, and they actually put our rate up. And we have done our best. We've replaced all of our lights with low wattage LEDs and so on. And we've got the most efficient heating. We've got the heat pump heating because that uses less electricity, and we still get charged a slightly higher rate.
So is this because of the square footage of the building, or because you
Just
are
because of our bill? If the bill goes over so many $100 a month, you get raised.
It doesn't seem right. I'm trying to fathom that because of what you guys do, helping people out. Who decided I'm in California, so I'm in Pacific Power. Who decided to jack your rate up? What's the...
Well, this
Coos
was
Curry
Coos Curry Electric.
Coos Curry Electric.
But this surprised me when I came to live in this country back in 1984. And we were with Southern California Edison, where I lived at that time. And my wife, who I came over here to marry, told me that if you use more in a house, more electricity, then you get charged more per kilowatt hour.
Well,
it's a conservation idea, and personally, I don't think it works too well.
Well, again, not with an organization that is assisting other people. That I'm still, my mind is a little bit blown by that.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be a classification in the thing.
Boy, if anybody out there,
everybody out there, let's get some signs and picket.
I would like to talk to Coos Curry Electric to see how that could be rectified.
I was just going to say, if there's anyone who works for Coos Curry Electric that's listening to us, I would be more than pleased to talk to them. I will go anywhere, anytime to talk and propagate the centre, and with the intentions of either fundraising or reducing costs for the centre, because it's worth the effort. And the next person who needs Meals on Wheels just may be you, because
that's right.
We consider that we enable people to live on their own in a house or a trailer or whatever it may be.
Which everybody wants to do.
By getting fed. I look at it myself. I'm disabled. If I was on my own, I couldn't cook because I can't be trusted to walk across the kitchen carrying a hot saucepan. I could use a microwave. And so if I got Meals on Wheels and somebody in once a week to clean and do the laundry, I could potentially live on my own. But the food would, to my way of thinking, and I like to eat. And so
Here.
the food is the big deal which enables people to remain independent
Yeah.
and not need to leave their homes to go to some kind of a care facility.
I live by myself, and you'd be amazed at sometimes what I call a meal. It's not. But my criteria for grocery shopping is that it tastes pretty good. It's easy to make, especially easy to make. I don't want to put more than 5 minutes into making dinner, and it's not going to kill me. It's halfway nutritious.
And I use a little bit of the fast food jaunts, probably too much, along with a little taqueria that's down not too far from my house. But that's pretty good. We are running out of time. What would you guys say right now? You always want volunteers. Is there certain areas where you're really hurting for volunteers, or just overall get with you guys and say, I want to volunteer?
I would say here that Carol Owens, if people show up and say they want to volunteer, I've known her go through the list. Meals on Wheels drivers, waiters at the congregate lunches, receptionists, cleaners, whatever you want to do, washing up in the kitchen if that's what you feel like doing.
Yeah.
And she will match you for a job which you can do physically. Most of us are old. We want to get younger people in. We want to get younger people on our board, because I'm 80 in January and my vice president is 85.
I think Rick's the kid, aren't you? Are you the youngest one?
In this group here?
No, well, all of KCIW.
I'm stumbling. I'm so old, I don't know. I might be on the younger end.
I'm 81 and I'm not the oldest.
I'm
There's
73, so we'll have to...
72 here.
Oh, somebody's younger. No, but about the young people, that's a big deal. That's huge, too. We try to do it here, too. But do you have any young people that are volunteers and on the board?
We do have a few that are younger.
Okay.
But we could always use more because,
Of course.
Who knows? Us that are in our 80s, and our treasurer is over 80.
Okay.
And who knows when those people are going to, for maybe health reasons,
Right.
cease to be able to do their job.
And you've probably seen that in the past few years, people dropping off for whatever reason,
Yeah.
We've had a couple pass away on us.
Okay. Well, not only pass away, but just figure, hey, I can't do much anymore. Well,
That's me.
oh, come.
Very limited by what I can do.
Okay, folks. Well, we're down to about the last minute. So want to thank both Roger and Jenny for coming in. And this is a big deal. It's just a very important part of our community.
Thank you for having us in. We're really happy to let people know about the Activity Center and hope that we can fulfill our matching grant to the full amount.
My, that's huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for listening to us. It's not the first time I've been accused of talking too much.
And we love that here.
Yes.
All right. Y'all been listening to KCIW LP 100.7 FM here in beautiful Brookings, Oregon.